Hey, I'm Christy.
And I'm Jeremy.
And this is Last Call for Plastisol. Cheers.
Hey guys, thanks for joining us today. We're going to hop right into that episode pretty soon. But first, we want to talk about our sponsors, Christy.
We have the best sponsors right now. I'm so excited.
Yes.
And we have some new ones.
We're going to have some new ones. Yes, we are.
Yeah.
I don't know if we can say the one, but all right, here's the thing. CoreChem chemicals.
Oh my gosh. So exciting.
CoreChem is part of the show.
Woo!
Welcome aboard, Jason, Barry, and all the gang at CoreChem chemicals.
They are so nice.
They are so nice.
We just did like a little intro call with them the other day. I know you know them. I haven't had any experience with them besides just meeting them at shows and stuff, but the nicest guys, the nicest company, and these products, I love them.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. What was great about Barry coming into our shop, because Barry came to our shop the other day with Aaron from Blue Ridge, and he basically walked through our shop and told us what we needed to do to minimize, like how many times do you have a manufacturer come into your shop and say, you need to use less of my chemicals? But like he streamlined our chemicals so that we needed basically 2 or 3 to get everything that we needed to do done. So
damn,
I know.
That's great.
It's really great. So if you guys get an opportunity, check out CoreChem Chemicals. And just FYI, we're going to be giving away some free stuff from them really soon. They put together a really cool kit for you guys to try. And so be on the lookout. Tuned. Be on the lookout for that for sure.
Yeah. And our next sponsor is my favorite ink ever, Monarch Color.
You like Monarch Color. I like that.
We've had a couple of beers.
Yes, we have, but that's all right. Monarch Color is right behind us. They have the best mixing systems, and they really mix well with their neons. You can kind of see the neons over Christy's shoulder there, but I enjoy the neons. All of their ink
It's kind of hard behind this Comfort Colors neon pink
That's
shirt,
all right, but their colors are... mixing system is great. They make ink dispersion systems. They have low bleed, low cure, and all the cotton
and
standard.
I will say, I think I've said it before, but the easiest printing white I've ever come in contact
Easiest
with.
printing white. Their ink does what it's supposed to do. Monarch ink. Check them out, monarch.com for more.
And you know where I get my Monarch ink?
Where do you get your Monarch ink from?
Blue Ridge Screen Products.
Blue Ridge Screen Products.
Another one of our sponsors.
It is. Aaron's great. Aaron's, did you know that he sells Anatol equipment?
I did know that, yes.
Yes. And that's, guys, if you need Anatol equipment, Aaron's your guy.
Yeah, he knows everything about all of it. He will come assess your shop and see exactly what you need. He's not into putting equipment in your shop that you really don't need or the wrong size. Aaron is also very forward thinking. So he will assess where you are in your sales goals and your production and say, okay, this is what you may need right now. But if you continue at the pace you're growing, this is what you may need. Just think about this versus that.
You know what Aaron just added to his shop? He uses graphic screen fashion screens. So for Frank, I'm stealing that from the shirt show. Sorry guys. But no, so basically he has graphic screen fashion screens and he has them labeled Blue Ridge Screen Products so everybody can tell their mesh counts.
Love that.
And they've got those labels available.
Our screens have always been labeled, and it makes it so much easier when you're just trying to go in there quickly and get a screen.
So yeah, for sure. So if you want to, organize your screen shops, your screen rooms and your screen shops, check out BlueRidgeScreenProducts.com. And if you use last call 10 at checkout, and here's the trick, guys, it works for a lot of things except for Anatol equipment. I got slapped on the hand for that one. So it does not work for Anatol equipment. So last call 10, don't do that. But everything else, you know what that what's great about Aaron is he carries Anatol, he carries Monarch, which is one of our sponsors, he carries CoreChem.
And one more thing.
PMI tape. Go ahead.
Andrew over at PMI Tape is the master of tape. And if you want to make your screen printing employees happy, buy PMI tape.
PMI is Andrew's going out of the way to make Printing United special for us.
We haven't told anybody.
Yeah. So So he is going out of his way to make Printing United special for last call for Plastisol. So if you guys come see us, here's the announcement. If you guys come see us at Printing United, we will be in the Anatol booth doing our show
with free PMI tape.
With free PMI tape, and it is going to be branded last call for Plastisol, which is really, really
exciting.
Cool. So come get your free tape from us. And you know what? We're doing way more branded giveaways with Corchem and Blue Red Screen Products and Anatol. Anatol is about to hop on board with us, and we are so excited.
Yeah.
It's going to be good.
I don't know if red is going to go with the pink that I always wear, but we're going to see how it goes.
Yeah, the salesman over there trying to get me to wear a Anatol hat during, and I'm like, I got a big head. You don't want me wearing it. So we'll figure that out. But
we are so appreciative of our sponsors. So thank you guys. Please check out these companies. It's good people with good products, and that's all we can ask for.
And if you've stuck around this long through all this talk, all this 3-4 beer talk about our sponsors, then you are in for a treat, because this show coming up is pretty special.
Yes, we had Ryan and Megan from P&M Apparel. Ryan, I got to know him through my time on the P&M board of decorators, and he is one of the funniest people I have ever met in my life.
Megan is dropped some Megan knowledge.
Yeah.
So look at that. Megan dropping some Megan knowledge. So
that's
check
the beer.
Check it out for information on third generation shops.
Yeah.
But then also all the things that you need to know about starting up a new shop.
Yeah. Or handling large orders that your shop isn't normally used to handling.
And core values, and setting up your shop in a way that your whole shop feels like a family. So there's a lot of cool things that you're about to get into in this episode. So we say cheers and enjoy the episode, guys.
Cheers. Today we have Ryan and Megan from P&M Apparel.
Welcome, you guys, to the podcast.
Thanks for having us.
Hi, thanks for having us.
I am so excited to finally have you guys on the show. I've known Ryan for over a year now. It's a long-term thing.
No.
And he's one of my bod buddies.
Yeah.
With the P&M board of decorators.
What does that mean? Bod buddies?
Bod buddies.
Dad bod.
Dad bod buddies.
Yeah.
That would be my
like
bod.
That. It's not like that.
Okay.
Ryan, you want to talk about you meeting me on the P&M board of decorators?
The privilege of you getting to meet Christy.
That I don't know about. Okay.
And the really bad Mexican food that we had that first night.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, go ahead.
I met Christy, I think it was North Carolina. What was that town called?
Mm-hmm.
Salisbury, North Carolina. At probably the worst Mexican restaurant that I've ever eaten at, where one of the waiters actively encouraged one of our compatriots not to get a dish.
Yeah.
Which is
I've never been at restaurants where they're like, please don't eat here.
Yeah.
That kind of place.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's where I know Ryan from. And then I had the pleasure of meeting Megan at ISS. You did too, right?
Yep. Yes, I did. And you know what? I think I've crossed paths with Ryan like 3 times, and we just didn't even know it. But he's in all my pictures. He's in all my posts.
Print hustlers.
He's a stalker.
Yeah, he's my stalker.
Wait, me or Jeremy?
That's me. I'm stalking you.
Okay, good.
Take pictures of you from distances and then be like, hey. No. You're like, why do I pop up in your feed? I don't know. No, I'm just kidding. No, actually, I don't know why. That was weird, though. I met you at Long Beach, and then I went back through the printable pictures, and I'm posting them. I'm like, hey, there's Ryan from November in Texas.
Yeah.
So, Megan, did you go to print hustlers as well?
Yep, I was there.
Yeah, it was packed.
I'm just significantly shorter than Ryan, and so it's harder to find me.
And less
now you have to go back and look.
I'm going to have to go back and look now. Yeah.
So can you guys tell us a little bit about P&M Apparel?
Sure. So P&M Apparel was started by our grandparents 36 years ago. The P and the M stand for Phyllis and Melvin. They started in their basement just as kind of a bit of a side hustle to try to make more money. They started with a 2-head embroidery machine, and just one day we're like, yeah, I think I could do that with zero experience. And yeah, from there we have been. This is technically our 4th location if you count the basement.
Oh, well.
And it was taken over by our mom, and then just in the last month or less, Ryan and I officially took over.
Congratulations.
Awesome.
Thank you.
That's so good. So one of the reasons I wanted to have you guys on the podcast, it's very similar to Jeremy's situation, is he runs a family shop as well.
Yep.
With the eventual hope to pass it down to his kids. So how did you guys start to get involved in the business?
We've always kind of been involved with the business. Like even growing up, we were here, we were working, reclaiming, doing odd jobs, and even on like days with no school. Growing up, our mom was a single mom, so if there was no school, she had to bring us with. So yeah, I mean, we kind of grew up in the shop, but I don't think either one of us had any intention of ever owning the business, let alone working here. So it's definitely been an interesting transition from those days way back when I'm like, oh, I'm going to be somebody important somewhere, and then
Yeah.
and I guess now I'm somebody important here. But yeah.
Cool. So, Megan, what did you do when you first started? The first job when you came into the screen shop? What'd you do? Screen printing shop.
Like when I was formally hired, or when I was like the kid having to.
And said, "I need you to come in here and do what? Stack shirts." Screens?
Usually, yeah, it was usually stacking shirts, reclaiming. As she started to trust me, it was screen printing. But then it was like I went to college and I started pursuing, my career path, which was graphic designer. And then, I got laid off at a job. It was kind of during the big recession of 2008, 2009.
Yeah, 2009.
Yeah. And she's like, well, it just so happens I need a graphic designer. And I was like, I don't want to design T-shirts, but I'll stick it out for a little bit. And turns out it's exactly what I want to be doing.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Because I'm still here.
Cool. So, did you go to? So you said you went to school for graphic design then, or okay?
Yep.
Where'd you get?
Yeah, I did. Mm-hmm. I went to a couple places, kind of bounced around before figuring out how to be an adult, and then, but I ultimately got my degree at Grandview University, and I got it's a degree in graphic design and a degree in journalism.
Oh, cool.
So both of those kind of help me in the job.
Yeah. Do you handle like any of the, I don't know, like not necessarily blog, but do you do things with your journalism degree at work?
Yeah, so it's like anything that we've done that's, marketing related, or even like social media posts and stuff like that. Usually Ryan hands me his phone and is like, here, write whatever the caption should be or whatever. So just in little ways, or it's really actually come in most handy when it's like I catch spelling errors on designs before they go to press a lot. Or name spelling errors or something like that. It comes in handy a lot there.
She also proofreads every email that goes out our door, especially the really important
Not
ones.
every email.
But we're always like, hey, can you read this over, make sure it makes sense and that I'm not being too harsh.
Sounds business professional.
No, I do that. I actually do that for Jill. Jill, this is weird. Jill answers my emails for me because she's like, yeah, you just don't even try, But the thing is I'm the voice of reason on an email because I can not sound like a total jerk, I guess. And sometimes it's all right, you need to word this so that I don't sound like a big B when I'm trying to, say something to somebody. So I'll just politically correct write it. But yeah, so we kind of team up on that whole thing. So it's not bad. It's not a bad idea to have that, a proofreader.
Yeah. And then Ryan, how did you get involved in the shop?
Very similar situation where I left a job that I wasn't super happy in, and at the time Megan was pregnant with her first child and was about to go on maternity leave. So my mom was like, "Hey, we're going to need some extra help around the shop while you're looking for a job. Do you want to, come and help out?" And so, yeah, 8 years ago, I said, "Yeah, I'll come work while I'm looking for something," and to this day, still looking for something else.
Too late. You're in now.
Yeah, unfortunately.
So you guys recently just purchased the shop from your mom. How did you get to the place where you decided, like, hey, it's time, we're going to do this? Did you have a timeline set out? How did this all come together?
I think it's been a pretty long
Can
process.
I tell her?
Oh, yeah.
Can I tell her the first part of the process, though?
Yeah.
Okay, so our mom makes like the third person of the week cry, and she just sends a text message to both of us and is like, "I don't know how to manage people. You guys are the managers now." And so we just took over the parts of it from there. And from that point on, it was and we've been doing that for over a year. And then it was like, okay, but now let's start formally talking about what that looks like. And Ryan, you can take over from there since I was kind of interrupting you.
Oh, no. So, I mean, the process for me started when I signed on full time, like after you had come back from maternity leave, because I sat down with our mom and she's like, "If you take this job, you're in it, and it's going to be nights and weekends, and eventually, you will be running this with Megan." And that was, like I said, 8 years ago. But the like formal process, yeah, we started that, I don't know, a year ago, 6 months ago, where we started a book club. That's kind of what we called it, where we would meet on Friday mornings, and we went through the book Traction, which was really good and strengthened our business a lot. And then we went through another book that was not as helpful, but was kind of about like planning for succession and what you need to start thinking about in terms of
specifically about family succession.
Do you remember the name of that book?
I don't. It's probably in my backpack somewhere, but I can find it and let you guys know. It really wasn't super helpful for our what we do. It was more like businessy, like jargon and stuff like that, and we didn't take a whole lot from it, but it led to some interesting conversations between the three of us. And
because that's, I mean, the ultimate plan is for Jackson to eventually take over, Jackson and Alex to eventually take over. Now, what Alex might do with it, I don't know, but that, I feel like that's down the road quite a bit. So there's a couple announcements that we got to get out in the open about how the things are changing for our company here. But yeah, I think to learn and to read up on that and like have both parties, kind of like my kids read onto it, like there's that resources like that would be a good thing. I never even thought about looking at that. So
yeah. Have you guys watched the show Succession?
No.
I keep being told to.
That's all I can think about now that you said that book was called that.
Yeah.
And I think you guys would really like it. And I hope that your situation.
Yeah, I keep being told to.
It's pretty good. Have you watched it?
I haven't.
It's good.
That book was like, hey, this is going to take at least 5 years, and we were like, we got to speed this up. We got to
screen printers. We
get going on
everything
it.
up.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Well, but it was also starting at like, when you hire your kid, here's all and it was like, so we had already done a lot of the things of like, make sure your child knows how to do a bunch of things and is not just like nepotism. This kid comes in and doesn't know anything about the business. It's like, make sure that they know what they're doing before they take over. And that was, so we were just already past that level. But there were things like, you need to have a succession team where you've got to have like a lawyer, and we had to talk to, our bankers. That was a big thing that we worked on, was we needed to work on formulating a good relationship with our banker, because they already had 30 years of relationship with this bank, but to the bank, they don't know or care who we are. We haven't proven to them that we can, handle money and not be reckless.
And
so
that's you guys are hitting right on it. That's my fear. And I'm sure it was your parents' fear as well. Like, hey, you can take a look at the books, and then all of a sudden he's like, oh, we need to make changes. We need to do this, this, and this. And you're like, whoa, wait a minute, pump the brakes a little bit. Why don't you go out in the press for a little bit before you start making changes?
Some of that might be like hesitation on your end to where like certain aspects, like Kay did a great job at letting us have control with certain things. Like if it's under $2,000, you don't have to ask me about it. Just, let me know, and slowly letting go of the reins a little bit. Just piece by piece until Megan was like, yeah, I'm done. I can't do this anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These are my reins now.
but I guess I think it just boils down to like trust, and I mean, it's your kids, you should trust them, right? But at the same time, like, all right, I'll stick around. Let's take the reins slowly. Let's, work it out. But if that wasn't in the plan, or if that wasn't as reality, I guess, then it is what it is. You take it and run with it. And I think just as long as they work in the industry for a while.
Yeah. In a similar vein, though, like you got to think of your company as kind of like a child of yours. I mean, you built this thing from the ground up for however many years, and in a way, it's your legacy being passed on. And I think that's something at P&M that Megan and I take very seriously. Is like this is our family's name on the building. What would Grandma and Grandpa think? What would Mom think? We just want to make sure we're taking it in the right way.
Yeah, that's a really good point. So can you guys think of any things that were like a challenge in the transition over that other people may encounter?
Oh, here we go.
That's all her.
That's
all her.
Challenges.
I mean, I think the biggest challenge is you're like working on a transition. If you're just like buying a business from a stranger or an acquaintance or friend, you can still like separate business from your personal, right? But when you're doing this, like, this is my mom, and she's the person that I argue with the most at work, and beyond that, there's like generational differences, the way that she thinks that things should be run and should be taken care of, the things that she makes priorities are not necessarily the same as what we make a priority. And so I think some of the challenges there have been, it's too intermixed to just like separate this is professional and this is personal, because it's all personal and it's all, it just is all interwoven.
I think in a similar way of what you're talking about, Megan, is like, it's a lot easier to talk to your family a certain way than it is to talk to a person you're working with, a coworker, or even a boss at another job. A lot of times we would throw around, Kay would throw around, would you talk like this to a boss at another job? And it's like, no, I wouldn't. But, that's why I work here at a family business.
Right. Yeah. And so like, I find this all the time. I find it very interesting because I work with my wife every day, and she'll wake up and I'll wake up and we're on different pages. And then like even this morning was like, hey, did you handle or tell this was what was said. Tell if so-and-so texts you, tell her the store will be down for at least 6 hours today. And I'm like, oh, why? And it was, the pricing was messed up. Well, change it, change the pricing, well, I don't know how it got messed up. I'm like, well, I sat and watched it be built, and then the next thing you know, we're like getting louder and louder. And I'm like, why are we having an argument over the store, and because it was just like, we're taking, and this is at the house, right? And so, then to come into work and be in front of all of our employees, and I'm like, I gotta take it all away, I gotta separate, I gotta get back into, I gotta, be a boss and not carry an attitude into the shop, right? Because of what me and my wife got into about something so stupid, right? Silly. And then we found out what the problem was, and then it was like, oh, okay, whatever, you know. But like, it could get tense for family to, like, you know, I'm sure even brother and sister to get into, you know, the logistics. You know, do you try to separate yourself from that? Do you have safeguards in place?
Not really.
I don't think so. I
See the movie Chef where they sit there and start doing this, like.
The bear. The
Is
bear.
it the bear?
Yeah,
Is a bear.
the
Okay. Yeah. They start rubbing each other's chest.
I think if there's any safeguard, it's that, like, we are very similar in how we can communicate to each other, but our personalities are actually pretty different. Like, I am very, like, tightly wound and go and have to try to cram, you know, 100 hours into an 8-hour day. And so I can then, if I need to vent or snap, I can turn to Ryan and throw it all at him. Probably not necessarily for the best. But Ryan is the complete opposite. He's very laid back. He doesn't let a lot of things stick to him. He's, you know, relaxed, go with the flow. If I need him to do something or whatever, he just jumps in and does it. And so it kind of balances each other out. I would say it works better between the two of us than, like, with our mom. It's like, that's where it's more, and it's usually me, a clashing of heads, because we're both kind of functioning in the same way of, like, how we do work. So it's a lot, yeah, it's a lot, not easier, but with Ryan, I can just kind of be like, I know that he's not going to, like, be super angry with me at the end of the day, even if I do something worthy of being angry.
I think that's the case
similar,
too.
like, compared to, like, other siblings that's out there, I think you and I get along a lot easier than even. So there's a brother in between us, and I mean, we all get along, but trying to have him work here probably wouldn't be for the best, just because
would not work.
You know,
yeah,
we would butt heads a little bit more than Megan and I do. But yeah, we've always.
And he agrees, for the record. He would be like, yeah, I never want to work there either.
So one of the things that I admire about y'all's shop is I was able to meet some of your employees when they came to ISS, and you guys have a really, like, tight-knit group of people that work with you, which is amazing to see. And you're able to invest in their professional development and do fun things together. How or what kind of things do you think that you have done in your shop to kind of cultivate that environment?
I think a lot of it boils down to, and I hate saying this, but, like, we treat each other like family here, because you hear that at so many different businesses. It's like, we treat each other like family, but it's like, we care about these people on a deeper basis than just you're our employee. Like, we care about what happens to these people outside of these doors. And I think that resonates with them, and in turn, they care about their coworkers in a very similar way. I think additionally, we don't take day-to-day too seriously, or at least I don't. You know, at the end of the day, we're printing shirts. You know, we're not doing brain surgery. No one's going to die if they don't get their shirt. So just cultivating that culture within the shop, I think it's a really big step towards that.
That's a good way to put it. So I asked for safeguards. I was going to ask another thing. That's all right. So, how about you guys, as far as, like, doing family functions? Or you say you run the shop like a family. So, like, for here, we end up doing, like, hey, if we're celebrating birthdays, everybody celebrating a birthday, every birthday, like, kind of thing. Like, if we're going to make it a family atmosphere, the employees are also in the family. Is that, you guys do a similar thing there?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Tell me.
We do. Yeah. We'll celebrate their birthdays. I mean, some people, they don't really want a lot of attention for their birthdays, so we kind of respect that. But they also, you know, you've got people that are coming to our kids' birthdays and, you know, like, recitals and soccer games and all of that stuff. And you know, we've got an employee that he's got a fight in a couple of weeks.
Oh, cool.
Like a
MMA kind of thing.
Yeah, and so we're all talking about like let's make shirts and paint faces and go and you know just try to support each other in all of those.
You do
things.
family dinners with your employees? Like
We'll do
get
lunches
together,
every now and
Not
then.
too much.
sit down together and have a dinner.
Not really, no.
No, not. I mean, we'll have meals. Like we'll bring in pizza or whatever. By the way, Ryan, I was thinking about bringing breakfast in today or tomorrow, so I'm going to do that. But
Okay, cool. I gave them all vodka shots today. So.
Oh wow!
I can see where the differences are here.
Well, because I'm here having a beer, and I didn't want them to feel left out, so I got little shooters, and just anyone who wanted one, you can take it.
Of course you did.
Are your employees still there, or no?
I think
No,
sales staff is.
Very cool. What time is it? Is it 1 hour behind there? So it's 4:30 there.
It's 4:30. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You guys close at 5.
Yep.
Cool.
So what does your staff look like right now? Like how many employees do you have? How are those employees distributed among the departments?
14 employees. We have 3 managers, so 1 for sales, 1 for embroidery, 1 for screen printing.
Okay.
We have 3 salespeople, or we call them account managers. We have 1 graphic designer under Megan. We have 1 embroidery operator under the embroidery manager. Then we have, I got to like count back here, however many are left are back in screen printing.
Okay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 3 or 4
Awesome.
that are under the screen printing manager.
What's your equipment? What are you guys running? Like what autos, manuals, like?
Yeah. So we've got 1 auto. We've got Anatol, and then we've got a manual, and then we've got 8 heads of embroidery.
Oh wow, cool.
Yeah.
Right, Ryan?
6. No.
Did you guys
5 of Maya's. You do what?
Did you get rid of the brown? Did you have a brown before? So
No,
we never had
someone
brown.
else.
The Anatol's our first auto, and it's 7/8 with the adjustable 7th head.
So it tilts up out of the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got that one. That's cool. Is it the Volt?
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, we love it. I mean, we haven't really had any major issues with it. Runs nice. We're actually looking at getting a larger version and getting rid of our manual, and not getting rid of, probably downsizing the manual to something that can kind of get out of the way.
I know a guy at Blue Ridge Screen Products that sells Anatol autos. You can use last call 10 at checkout. They would be like, hey, what are you doing?
We fired.
Yeah. No, I'm just joking.
So how do you guys decide how to promote someone to the managerial roles within their departments? Do you have a set?
That's a good question.
Whoever is there the longest, or like sudden death? Like how does that happen?
It's not a long-term thing. It's not like a longevity thing, because like Jacob, our sales director, we promoted him over another account manager that had been there longer.
Okay.
I think it's just who do we think would fit well in that position, and then I don't know. That's a good question.
So.
Well, and this is our first real set of managers. Before them, it was just like everyone reported to us. Okay. And so one of the things was like kind of going through traction, going through other things. It was like, well, we need to have more of a like hierarchy. We don't have to be answering every pricing question or something like that. And so we wanted to develop that like middle level. And so, the production managers, it was obvious because they had been here the longest. But with Jacob, it was just like he had the most management material, essentially.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a trust thing.
He probably loves that I just said that. If he listens to
it. You're gonna go grab him and let him know.
So I actually hired a business coach about that, because like I was trying to figure that out. Like, hey, do I promote within? Do I hire without? And so like we went through like not necessarily like he just basically said, tell me about the employees that you have, and then what was their where did they go to school for? What do they like? What all this? So he starts doing this personality breakdown of of some of the people in sales, and he's like, you may not have the right people in the right positions for that. Like, these type of personalities aren't good in these situations, or and it might be the manager side of things out in the shop. It might be in the sales, but like, you may want to consider moving people around. And I was like, I never even thought of it that way. We just kind of said, hey, you've been here the longest. You say you really like working with people. Let's stick you here. Or let's,
That's one of the things in that traction book that they really dive into is, you have to have the right people. I can't remember if they called it a ship or a bus or whatever, but you have to have the right people on the bus. But at the same time, they have to have the right seat. You don't want, somebody with no legs driving the bus because, they can't reach the pedals. Is that problematic?
I don't remember that part.
Do we need to edit that part out?
I don't know.
Ryan's clip notes.
Yeah. But it's all about having the right people in the right positions. And as your company grows and changes, those seats change as well. And we've gone through that in the last 8 years where, our business has outgrown some employees and we've had to let them go, even if they've been there for, 15, 20 years. It's just, if you are not on the bus, sorry, this is your stop.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good thing. Do you guys do anything with culture, or do you like have an employee handbook or anything like that you kind of hold people accountable?
I was going to add to what Ryan was saying. Yeah. It's like as we went through the traction book, it was like, it really tries to identify what your core values are, what the big tenets of what makes your business what it is. And we kind of filtered those out. But then it was like, now reflect that in the staff that you have. And one of the other reasons that our management team really started to stand out was because they were already reflecting all those values. And so it makes the company culture easy to spread when it's like they're already trying to do the same thing that you're doing. And so it's like that's trickling really down. You want us to do it this way. Yeah. Yeah, and so they're already on board, so it's easy to teach their teams the right direction on how they need to go with things based on those core values.
Mm-hmm. I like that a lot.
So
it makes hiring easy.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, not easy. It makes hiring easy. It makes firing easy. Just because you know immediately if somebody's not going to work out based on their personality, because it's like, we had a great candidate for an account manager, and she's like, I'm very money motivated. And it's like, great, you're not a good fit for us, best of luck, because that's just not who our culture is.
Right. Yeah, more customer service maybe over money. Yeah.
Customer service, relationships. Exactly. We always tell people, we don't want to be the cheapest, we want to be the best. And part of that comes with that white glove service of that great customer service.
Yeah, I love that. So what would you guys say are your core values for your business?
Quick, Ryan, read the poster.
Read the poster to us.
No, I want to see it. Yeah.
We love that.
There you go.
Great.
So, solutions engineers.
Yep.
We want all of our employees to be solutions engineers. We want a culture of personal responsibility. We want to work as a team on every product or project. And we are always improving, learning, and challenging ourselves.
That's great.
Boom.
That is awesome. The first one, the engineer one, solution engineers. Yeah.
Solutions engineers.
So is that like, so I have the same one, but it's kind of, I actually come from an engineering background. I didn't even think of that. I didn't think of doing engineering. I was like creative solutions. Like I want you to creatively solve problems.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Like before you come ask me how to come out there and bail you out, like think through it in multiple ways. Like there's got to be a way out of this, because I'm going to come out and do it and you're going to be like, oh, that's the way. But if you really critically think through things,
Mm-hmm. And the part that I really liked was the last one about constantly learning and improving. I think that's an important part of culture too. Like just because we're good doesn't mean we're going to be good forever. We got to constantly push the wheel forward. I love that.
I think that's been a big focus as Megan and I have taken over the business, is constantly updating how we do things, evolving almost, which I think Kay did a great job of running this business and getting us to where we are. But I would say one of her downsides was just saying, yeah, coasting, and we're good enough where we are. Whereas Megan and I are like, we're thirsty for all of that information.
Yeah.
Like going to Long Beach, and even the board of decorators, just having those opportunities to have those conversations and learn.
So is there,
or like going to Print Hustlers?
Yeah.
Print Hustlers was a good one, where it was like we came back and we talked to them about the 2-second lean that we learned about and all of the different things. And man, the people that were like, I want to be a solutions engineer, they ate the 2-second lean stuff up. And it was like every week they were trying to find something to lean up the way that they're doing business.
Yeah, I was going to ask that. So how many people did you take with you to Print Hustlers? Was it just you two, or?
It was just us
Okay.
two.
Yeah, that was a hard one to come back from and actually get my team to buy in right away. I had to really convince them that this is what we were going to do. Have you so how was that for y'all? Did you just come right back in and implement it, or were you trying to go team buy-in like they suggested to do?
I think, like Megan said, like our management team was already kind of implementing these ideas. They just didn't have a name for it. And so to come back and be like, this is what we learned. And then like, well, yeah, why wouldn't we take less steps to do something?
Yeah.
So it was, I think, a lot easier for us to come back and at least motivate our management team to do that than, come back and just be like, all right, here's what we're doing.
Right. And you know what I found is like, once you implement those things, like people come into your shop, new employees come into your shop, and they're like, oh my gosh, you guys are so organized. You guys have everything together, where like, I feel like people that have been here kind of took it for granted and did what they wanted to do. And so like those new people come in and super, like they 100% appreciate it. And if you can, I feel like that's a nugget like everybody could take away from this, even this show, or from our experiences, is that like, you just like, you're the boss more than a friend, and you got to get your ship right and get everything in working and well-oiled machine, right? And then you're going to get the right people to come in that's going to buy into your program. And like, I just hired 4 employees or 3 new employees, and they're all like, this is the coolest thing in the world, that like, you guys actually spend time doing this. We were so disorganized. We didn't know what we were doing daily, and this morning meeting, the whole morning meeting thing that I took away from that 2-second lane. Do you guys do a morning meeting?
We don't. We have like
we call it
a management, we call it triage, where
we call it triage.
Our management team gets together and just kind of like debriefs what happened the day before. And kind of briefs on what their days look like in each of their departments. We haven't expanded it to all of the employees or anything like that, though.
Well, but they typically will do stuff the night before, like Jacob meets with each of his account managers one-on-one to go through their jobs and see if there's anything he needs to know. And he'll do that at the end of the day, so that the next morning when we triage, he's already got summaries and morning reports of what we need to know.
Does your management come in before your team comes into print? No, everybody at the same time?
Especially not this week. This week, my team's been in at 6:30 more than they've been in at 8.
So my question I'm very interested in sales. You guys know I love sales. How do you guys do sales there? Do you have outside sales? Do you just do inside sales? What's going on?
We're all inside sales.
Okay.
And really, they're Jacob says, catching apples. They're catching apples as people come to us. We're not having to go out and seek any jobs or anything like that. So all inside sales, no commission, all salary based. 3 account managers, 1 sales director, and they all sit in a hub together. So it's open communication between everybody. And then Megan and I sit just off to the side. Open communication is the biggest thing in our office. That way, if there's any ideas being floated around, it's a double-edged sword, honestly. Any ideas being floated around, we can pitch in. But at the same time, if Megan and I are having a conversation that is business-wide, we get those comments as well. But
are you guys up there in the huddle? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, we're just off to the side. We have 2 areas. One we call like the sales hub, and then we have the hot tub.
which no one calls it that
You
except
call
for
it the hot
Ryan.
tub. You have called it the hot tub multiple times.
I have. You're right, because you've kind of conned me into
Yeah,
it.
I've gaslit you into calling it the hot tub.
Yes.
You have.
But the hot tub, it's like a U-shaped desk where Megan and I sit in the two corners, and then our graphic designer sits behind Megan.
It's very intimate.
It's a big hot tub. Calm down.
So when a customer walks in the door, what does that look like for your customers?
It kind of, whoever has time will step up, and sometimes we'll be like, hey, does anybody have time for this? Or and if nobody has time, somebody has to sacrifice the time to get up and help them.
Okay.
We do say it's kind of like a Cheers environment a little bit, where it's like, especially if it's a client we know really well, it's immediately just like a bunch of people being like, hey, and just being goofy and trying to be as welcoming as possible.
Okay. And so how do you motivate your sales staff if there's no commission? Like, what is the motivation for them?
We pay them well.
Okay.
We start by
do they have sales goals or anything?
We all have goals, but they're just not super formal. The goal is like make the business better and have a personal investment in the business. I might have to check on my kid here in a minute. He's making a lot of noise.
That's right.
We've all got them.
Sorry.
That's all right.
But we get asked that quite a bit, like, how do you motivate people? And we're just kind of like, we care about them and we treat them like human beings. And in response, they give us quality work and they care about us too.
Yeah. I love that.
So we have a impromptu production manager today. He never heard our podcast before, so he wanted to stick around. He's like, can I help? And I'm like, sure. So we've got him to help, and so he's about to deliver some beers, I think. So
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Megan,
we
why
need
don't
to
you
get us one of them.
coffee cup?
Get you one of those kids that.
Oh, this is just tea.
Oh, okay.
I'm like full beverage goblin right now. So you've got one for energy, one for hydration, and one just for fun.
Right,
beverage goblin.
I love that. Are we recording still?
We're recording. Yeah, we didn't stop recording.
Okay. So one of the things that I'm super interested in is you guys just got like a great order. How many t-shirts was it? 5,000 shirts about? I'm
gonna introduce you to Alex real quick. Come in here, Alex.
Alex, stick your head in here. He's about to go to the military, so
Alex is going in on the.
Hi, Alex.
Hi, Alex.
This is Ryan and Megan.
Nice to meet you.
All right.
So you guys just got a great order, or to me, it's a great order. 5,000 shirts.
It is.
So, how is that a normal order for you guys, or is that like an outlier of that?
It's somewhere in between.
Okay.
It's not like we've never had orders that big.
Sure.
I think the outlier was that we had 3 days to print
I did
it.
not know.
And then we got everything to them on deadline, and then the next day at like 4:30, which is not a great time to be ordering t-shirts.
Yeah.
They were like, hey, we already sold out. Can we get 1,000 more by Friday?
Wow.
So
those are done, by the way.
that's what our production crew was finishing up today.
So
Those are
how many
done.
locations?
2 locations.
It was 2 locations. It was a 5-color front, 1 color back.
Oof. Do you double? What color? What was the back color? White? Black?
Yeah.
So you had a double screen that thing?
Yeah, it was white. We started on a double screen, but then I think it was doing just fine with a single, so we ended up just doing single.
That's nice.
Yeah, which made things way faster.
Yeah. 10,000 times through the dryer.
Great.
Exactly.
Okay, so I sent a list of questions to you guys. One of my things is I feel like as print shops we have this like usual job number that we all get, and it grows as our shops grow and everything like that. But then every once in a while we get an outlier. Like for me, last month I got a 1,700 shirt order, and that's a big job for my shop. So how did you guys manage an outlier? Like, what steps do you put in place to do that? Did you negotiate with suppliers? How do you plan your staff? Any of that kind of stuff that you can give real tips to other print shops of how to manage the things that they're just not used to managing on a daily basis.
First step is you get yourself a Megan who is hyper organized in these situations and says, A, B, and C. This is what we're going to do, A, B, and C. And then communicate that to your staff.
Okay.
And then you get a Ryan who's like, I'm just going to go with the flow, whatever you need. I'm going to jump in. So it's good. No. So the big thing was, it started with like intense communication with the client. One of the reasons that we had such a short timeline was because they had a death in the family right as they needed to be placing their order. And so that was like, hey, listen, I know that you're dealing with things that are way more important than shirts, but also you're going to want these shirts.
Yeah.
So like what can I do? And really pushing that communication. As soon as she had expressed interest, we were reaching out to several different vendors because we were using Gildan. And so we were like, what kind of pricing can you get me on this? And kind of had those quotes locked in so that when we did get the official order, we could just be like assigned to this quote number.
And I have a question there, if you don't mind. So
yeah.
If you are going and getting these, extraordinary pricing from SNS or whoever, do you go ahead and price for the customer on the base price that you normally get? Or do you wait for that special pricing and then update the quote for that?
I'm answering the question. I'm like,
no, I want to know how they do it. I know how they do it.
But I would say it depends on the situation. In this situation, we were trying to help out a little bit because it was like a school and specifically like the foundation for a school. So it was like a nonprofit. So we were trying to help out a little bit, but we also knew that we would probably be doing overtime and we wanted to be making, decent profit margins and everything. So I did tell her like, at the time I had enough time to be like, I want to go check and see how good of pricing I can get for you. So I did a little bit. I would say if it was a smaller order, I probably would not necessarily like pass like it every rule is breakable, right?
Yeah.
So it's like I sometimes can pass that along if I need to be more aggressive. It basically just gives me enough wiggle room where I can figure out how aggressive I need to be on the pricing. And in this situation, I didn't need to be hyper aggressive.
It especially comes down
we weren't
to
at like $4
when you have those clients that are price shopping. You're going to cut some margins where you can. With this client, we have an established relationship with them. We've been doing stuff for them for a couple years now, and they trust us. They know that the product that they're going to get is worth the cost that we are presenting with them.
That's great.
And if anything, if the place she got the biggest discount was that I didn't charge her a rush fee, because I was like, I know that the reason that you're in this place is not of your own volition. So that was where she probably ended up saving a ton of money.
Yeah.
Was not having to pay just crazy rush fees on that big of a job.
And, if you want to really think through it, like if you're trying to help somebody out, you're going to give them a discount anyways, like right off the top. So you going back and getting an additional discount so that you can make up your money a little bit is, you're still offering them really good pricing as opposed to your first,
Yes.
So there's two different ways of approaching that and still gaining the same benefit from it,
Yeah, I would agree with that. So on a normal basis, though, at what because our podcast is geared more towards beginning to intermediate screen printers, that level of shop. At what quantity level do you guys usually call up your SNS or Sanmar rep and say, hey, can you do any better on these shirts?
I think that depends on who is doing the pricing. I tend to,
Hold on,
go,
Megan.
if it's like,
Megan.
what?
Jeremy showed his
What?
Alex. I wanted to show our Alex.
Hi.
Yeah.
Oh, that's our Alex.
That's our Alex. You showed your Alex. This is our Alex. He's our graphic designer.
Can't see you.
All right, go away.
Funny.
Sorry.
I tend to, because a lot of places it's like, well, if you spend $200 on product, we'll start giving you discounted pricing. So I tend to be like, anything that's, right above the mark, it's like, if I save $20, but I'm saving $20 on 10, 12, 15 orders, a week or every other week, then that really starts to add up. And I'm a penny pincher.
Yeah.
So I would say, don't just wait for these giant orders. Like anything that's even, medium size or big for you is still worth at least, trying to get 10 cents a shirt or something like that.
And I
with
feel
that
like
same
SNS.
thing,
Go ahead, Ryan. Sorry.
in that similar vein, having a good relationship with your Sanmar rep, your SNS rep, that moves across the board. I mean, we have a really good relationship with our Sanmar rep, and so we can call him up and be like, hey, this, and this. How does this screen print versus some of our other distributors? I'll say that. We don't have as good of a relationship with the rep, and it's like pulling teeth to get anything. But not only our external reps, our internal reps are great too. So for this particular job, we went with SNS, and our internal rep really, really helped us out.
That's awesome.
And I think it's important to say here, because I think people will look at this podcast and go, oh, they're talking about special pricing. That's just for people that's been in business for a really long time.
It's not true.
It's not true at all. I actually, the third job I got was a 6,000 t-shirt order. And I just said, yes, I'll take it. And we ended up winning the bid on it. And then I had to figure out how to print it. And I actually subbed it out. But I knew I was going to make so much money off of that. And then I'm like, one of my friends was like, call Sanmar and see if you can get special pricing. And I'm like, they're not going to give me special pricing.
Totally.
They did. It's not based off of volume that you order. You just ask for it. If you're getting above a certain amount of volume, even I think it's like 500 shirts. It's not even.
I'll call in 300 shirts.
You'll call
300 shirts. Yeah. So sometimes it's more if you get more, but then they're like, all right, well, you got to pay. You might have to pay more. You don't have net terms yet or something like that. But, you can certainly, newbies can certainly get away with it.
I would say,
what's the worst they're going to
Worst
say?
they can say is no.
just say no.
They can say no, right? That's right.
Okay, so scheduling a job that's bigger than what you would normally do. And my big thing is not just scheduling it, but scheduling it where you don't F up the rest of your production for all your other customers. What does that look like for you guys?
For this one, we knew it was coming down. And so we knew what was coming. We knew how many days we needed to print it. And so it was, we know this is coming.
It's made room in the schedule for it.
Yeah.
We kind of knew. In the case of this job, we kind of knew. We knew when they definitely needed it by, but we didn't have anything locked in until I was like, listen, I need you to just give me numbers. So then we kind of were working around UPS. But yeah, we were scheduling shifts where it was like people were coming in at 6:30 and working until like 2:30, 3:30. And then we would have somebody take over and print from 3:30 to 5 or something. And it basically expanded our 8-hour day to, 10 hours or so, or more if we needed. And so, 10 hours more printing, that's, a good 800 to 1,200 shirts, depending on what we're doing.
Yeah.
So that was the biggest component. And if people were taking breaks, a big thing that we implement, especially in production, is cross training. We start our people out in reclaiming, and the screen room, and getting to understand the exact why a screen needs to be a certain way. And then they can come out and they can start doing quality, and then they can start doing printing and everything. And so when it came to jobs like this, then it's easy to just have this quick rotation of like, okay, you go on break, you step in and keep rotating, keeping people fresh is a big thing, because it's easy
really
to get
good
really
point.
tired.
And it's not right now.
And so we were, yeah, exactly. And so it was like, okay, you've been pulling shirts off for like an hour. Why don't you go take a break and then go print on the manual for a little bit or something, or go reclaim some screens or something like that. And just kept everybody rotating. And because they all knew what to do in their specific jobs, then there was no like crisis. We have to have the head screen printer in this.
Yeah, I really love that. I mean,
'cause-
especially someone like me with ADD, like I can't do the same thing all day. I was heat pressing some shirts today, and I did it for 2 hours, and I was like, I'm ready to slit my wrist. Like I need to go, but it doesn't matter what else.
Talk about cutting out some stuff in the podcast. Jeez.
I need to be out in public.
If you're having thought.
I'm ready to get a cold beverage.
Way to bring us down.
We'll just talk it over.
Crap. I'm just kidding. All right. Let's get back to the show. All right. So I was going to say, this is brilliant, because when you cross train, and I'm trying to do a lot of it, and that's the benefit of like someone like Christy coming into the shop, is that she can do all kinds of stuff, right? But like people that don't have that background, like, you know, being able to be able to stick somebody like, all right, so they would kill me if I said go from washing out screens to the manual, because the shop is so much hotter in the where you print t-shirts than it is, and they'd be like, no, I'm gonna stick here and just take up, you know, I'm just gonna get wet, you know, in front of the washout booth. But like that's huge, because like somebody calls off sick.
Yeah, happens all the time.
Calls off sick.
Exactly.
Who's doing what, right? And I got to keep production. We got to keep the machine spinning, right? So that's a great advice.
And we extend that to more than our production staff. I mean, our embroidery staff, yes, they're production, but they also know how to pull shirts off, how to count shirts off the dryer. Some of our Alex, our graphic designer, he does not like to sit and not be doing anything. Yeah. So if he doesn't have anything to do, he's coming to the back to find something to do in production.
Perfect.
So taking that upon himself to cross-train himself on like heat sealing, on pulling shirts, on counting shirts. All of our sales staff at one point or another has come back to count shirts, to come back to like compile an online store and help out. It goes back to that fourth tenet of P&M Apparel, you know, or third tenet, where, you know, we're going to work on all of these projects as a team. So when you say, you know, we're not motivating our sales force with commission, well, no, because they're not just doing commission; they're doing production as well. You know, they're taking out the trash. They're making sure that the facility looks good. They're making sure everybody's on task. You know, making sure these projects are getting done.
And I can't remember whose Instagram it was. It was a print shop, but they said that they bring their sales staff and, you know, have them shadow or do certain things in the shop, you know, whether it's fulfilling online orders or, you know, pulling shirts off the dryer or whatever, or like vinyl or heat pressing, for instance. Like, you should know the labor that goes into what you're selling. So when you're selling it, you have an appreciation for that particular job and the production that it's going to take to get the job done.
And that's part of Jacob's training process. When we get new account managers, is we want them to be wearing P&M Apparel clothing while at work. Well, how are you going to get that decorated? He says, great, we're going to get you your pieces. You're going to go back and you're going to heat seal it so that you know exactly what goes into this. You're going to go back and you're going to screen print your own shirt so that you know what it's like to pull one shirt at least.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
It's great. Question?
So
I think that also tears down that divide that a lot of shops see between like their sales and their production staff, where it's like sales, and this has happened to us not regularly, but within the last, I don't know how many years, where it feels like production is versus the front office staff.
I think
instead
it
of
can happen
working
easily.
cohesively. Oh yeah, for sure. Well, because you're sitting up front and not having to pull a squeegee, and
Mm-hmm.
Right. So
it's
I've added a new section to our podcast. It's called Hot Questions.
news to me.
Hot Topics. Hot Topics. Hot Questions. All right. So the question to you guys is I'm making this up as I go. But the question to you guys, this is you're on the spot now. Megan, you're first. Okay.
I'm ready.
You walk
I'm ready.
into a shop that just had somebody, like they just called, they were like, you know what, we're going to start a t-shirt business, and we're going to, how hard can it be to print a t-shirt? And we're going to basically call and get the equipment, and you walk into the door. What are you telling, like, how are you going about explaining to them what the best way to what you're basically on the art side of things, like, what's the most important thing that you would say, you need to know starting off fresh, not, just basically baby steps into screen printing? Like, what's your advice to them?
Ooh, this is a good question.
Yeah, this is a good question. My biggest advice is like soak up as much information as you can before you start touting yourself as a professional. If you're asking like, how do I open an Illustrator file, then like you're not ready to claim to be the same as your competitors, right? Mm-hmm. If you're like asking, why is my emulsion completely washing off the screen every time I try to burn something? It's like, because you did not take the proper steps to like learn the processes and like go apprentice in a shop, or at least shadow a shop, or like YouTube exists, or there's any number of resources that can like get you this information. But there's so many shops that like start off and they're like, yeah, I can just do this, and I don't need to like know the experience or the ins and outs, and they end up failing, and then they don't know why, and they try to like blame the customer or something. It's like, no, it's because like this is like a craft. Yeah. It is not just it's not just like, well, custom ink can do it, so I can do it too. Like it is a craft. It takes skill. It's not the same as like going and buying a Cricut and just like selling what you create. I went to school for several years to learn what you're trying to get information on in 5 minutes. Go to school for it and then do this. Or, there's classes on how to be a screen printer. Go do those things. Learn the craft, learn why things are done the way they are, so that then you can be presenting a quality product. Mm-hmm.
That was killer.
I loved it. I feel like
Ryan, I'm not even going to ask because she just won the contest.
When there's those Instagram things where it like captions everything, you're going to get captioned.
You're going to get captioned. No, seriously, Ryan. From a shop standpoint now, like, hey, I want to print a 3-color halftone because that's what our logo is. Show me how to do it. I don't know what I'm doing. Like,
that's not the same question. I would just show them how to do it.
It is because they're new and they never even walked into a screen printing shop before, but they just bought the equipment. Like, so what? Like, appreciate the process. What are you going to tell them?
I think so. When Gildan was here, we did all these ridiculous interviews that took 5 years. What I told them is along the same lines of what I told Megan. It's like, there's a wealth of knowledge out there in people that have been doing this for years and years and years. You just have to ask. I know in your neck of the woods, it's a little bit different where your shops kind of get along and, there's a lot of collaboration. Our shops don't talk to each other.
Right.
There's one local shop that we talk to and communicate with. Other than that, it's like, if I see you out in public, like it's on site, like we're going.
Gosh.
No, it's not that bad, but it's still, it's not like there's enough jobs for everybody to succeed.
Sure.
Everybody's wearing shirts.
Yeah. Like that's not going out of style as much as I'm like praying for it. But, it's just like ask around. There's so many different avenues of education out there, from trade shows to the internet to YouTube to Discords to walking into a random shop and just being like, hey, I want to do this. Is it okay if I apprentice here or whatever?
Yeah.
I've actually had
part of that.
I've actually had 2 people come to me and say, hey, can I just work for free for you just to see how it's
So Megan and I we're working with the Department of Labor probably in 2024 to develop an apprenticeship standards specifically for silk screen printing t-shirts.
That's awesome.
That way it's like, all right, here's your core competencies. You have to meet all of these before you can be an accredited screen printer or something like that. And it's a similar way to what we run our shop as. It's like, we put you in the screen room so that you know what makes a good screen. Then you can come out and see why that was important. And then from there, it's like you meet these competencies, and then we're going to promote you from press assistant to press operator to, so on and so forth.
Mm-hmm. And I don't want to pick on the shop. I actually did a coaching job 2 weeks ago, and I went to a new shop.
It's just got you thinking.
And it's got me thinking about that, because it was really one of those things where, like, I ran into, like, I was like, oh my gosh, like, I didn't think that newbie shop existed in the state that I went to that shop in, right? Like, I thought everybody's gone and done what I did. Like, I had done all the research and went to the class and did all that. There's no way they just bought that equipment and didn't know anything about it, because they saw a cool video online from, whoever, and was like, I can do that. He's doing it. I can do it. But, like, oh my gosh, like, I think that, like, I thought that people, like, would more research and get more involved in it, and they didn't. And that was like a big time eye opener for us. So I want to get, like, those, opinions from actual shop owners that have been in it for a long time to say, hey, like, this information needs to get out there. Megan, what you said was right on, and Ryan as well. Like, education is out there.
Yeah.
Like, education is out there. Get it. Appreciate the process, right? You cannot just cheat your way to the top, and have other people do stuff if you don't even know how to communicate. The small.
Well, and especially, like, if you were to buy a shop that was already existing, right? You just were like, I was in the real estate market and now I'm going to switch gears. I'm an entrepreneur and now I want to print shirts. So I'm going to buy this shop that was already for sale. But you don't know anything about screen printing. Like, how are you going to manage a bunch of people that, like, know more about your business than you do, So it's like, you need to spend that time and start learning, so that when they're like, hey, there's a problem with this job, you know how to solve that problem.
Or know where to go to get the problems.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. I would say my biggest thing that I would tell people is, number one, take time to learn how to make a good screen.
Yeah.
Like, above all else.
Amen.
Yeah.
Like, if you don't have a good screen, you're not getting far in this business.
Right. And,
that's where a good print starts, is with a good screen. And where great print starts is with a great screen.
Yeah.
The whole, when I said, hey, you got a 3-color halftone, that's exactly what I walked into. Like, but you got to know what a mesh count is. Like, what mesh did you buy? What screen did you buy? Do you know how to separate that? Do we know how to make halftone dots? And do you have a rip?
What's your LPI?
What's your LPI? Like, well, can I get somebody else to do that? Not if you don't know how to communicate that. Like, not if you don't know what you have. Not if you don't know how to print it. Not if you know. I mean, print it to film. However.
So we're trying to hire a bookkeeper right now, and we had a sort of interview with a, like, outsourcing bookkeeper, but it's like,
I have a great one.
Ooh. But they brought up, it's like, yeah, you can talk the talk, but if you don't know how to walk the walk and do what you're saying you're doing, you'll know right away who knows what about screen printing if you just listen to them for half of a second.
Right.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of and just for you guys, even just to think about this, is that, I mean, you're going to start an education program, or to be able to I guess teach screen printing, I guess, right, is what you're saying.
Keep the legacy.
Keep the legacy going. But but I think that you could easily, there's in your area, the way to reach out to shops is, to say, hey, we're taking in, we'll help you. If you need any help, just, I'm out here. And I guarantee you that people are going to start to show up at your door. They do here. And that's not out of me just, it's just really just going, hey, I'm here to help. I'm happy to help. I don't want to see, if somebody comes to me and says, hey, can you burn these screens for me? Have you ever had that? Can you burn these screens for me? And I'm like, what are you doing? What kind of press do you have? Could let's take a tour real quick. Let's figure this out. And they're like, oh my gosh, I get to go back there. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah.
There's an opportunity for us as people that have been
threatened by you.
We're not
threatened by you.
We're here
It's
to push
okay.
the industry forward.
We want to push you forward. It's okay. We'll help you out a little bit. I think there's an opportunity there that we could really grasp a hold of, and then maybe it won't seem so like what it is around you guys, where nobody likes each other.
I think part of that is
like Ryan said. Sorry, Ryan said, we have one shop that we're really formulating that relationship with, and we love it. But then we'll have shops that they won't even look at us in the chamber meetings or something you're not our competitor. We can help you out. You can help us out. We can coexist. We all are going to need a hand at some point.
So I just wanted to ask one more question. We're running a little long.
We're running along long. Yep. Okay.
But my last question is, Ryan and I have gotten the opportunity to go with Gildan for the board of decorators. But Megan, you had a great opportunity this summer to go with the Print Girl Mafia out to Bella Canvas. Tell me about it. How was it? What did you take away from it? Any of it?
Are we allowed to talk about this?
Yeah, we are on the podcast.
Contractually.
Ryan, you can't, but Megan.
I was going to say, technically, I did not sign any NDAs or anything like that.
Neither did I. This is me and you conversation.
I dropped Gildan's name a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So here's what you need to know about the Print Girl Mafia. They are the coolest girl gang in screen printing and probably the rest of the universe. So that's full stop.
That's a big endorsement.
And it's I think I've always been the type of person that was I'm not really a girly girl. I'm sure, Christy, you don't really resonate with this. You're a lot more girly than I am. But I'm I don't want to sit here and talk about I don't want to talk about shopping or my nails or whatever. This is just not my vibe. And it's fine. It's just not who I am. But it's as I got older, I realized it's not that I'm not good being friends with girls. It's just that I just haven't found my tribe yet. And these women, I just walk in and they're all just like me. They're no, we don't want to talk about our nails because they're going to get destroyed with Plastisol and all of this stuff. Let's start talking shop. Let's talk about trends. Let's talk about things that we're into. And they were so encouraging. There's, something to be said, no offense to the dudes in the room, but there's something to be said about if you remove the dudes, a lot of ego gets removed. A lot of just, we don't have to be concerned about somebody talking over us and not that either of you have done that, but.
So I want to talk over Megan here for a second.
It's I think there are so many times that women feel like they can't speak on a super professional level, that somebody is going to undermine them or, treat them as less than. I know, even just between Ryan and I, it's some people will walk into our office and will only assume that Ryan knows what he's talking about and not even consider that I might also be the owner of the company.
Yeah.
So to like have those experiences and then like go to this group of women that are like so educated on what they're doing and so good at what they're doing, and are just across the country, and have like all of these similar experiences, and just really understand what it's like to be a woman in the industry. It was so encouraging, so empowering. Yeah, it was, and so it was really good. And we got to, Bella Canvas really like wined and dined us, and they were fantastic. It was so interesting being able to like go into the mills, and learn, from raw cotton all the way to a completed shirt, and see what kind of industry standards that they're bringing to the table and stuff like that. And just like be able to take all of that knowledge and like present it to your clients, explain like, well, this is why this shirt costs this much money. And actually, if I explain the whole process to you, you would probably think this shirt would be at least twice, if not more, than what I'm charging you. So, that was really interesting. They took us to their headquarters, which they have a huge focus on wellness.
Is this in California?
And health. It's in California,
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a really wonderful time. But yeah, I would say the friends we made along the way were probably the highlight of the trip for me.
That's awesome.
And your camera somehow is not catching up right now because of your Wi-Fi, but that's all right. We'll figure it out.
Sorry.
We also sent
you. I wanted to ask you real quick, like so going to California with the Print Girl Mafia, and then like I know you took away a lot. Hey, there you are again. You took away a lot from that trip. Are you encouraged to go back now to Print Hustlers, which is at the same place, basically?
Yeah, this is the third time because we went to ISS too. And it was like, I haven't been in California in years, and now I'm going 3 times in 1 year.
No.
So
it's a lot of
it's not the worst place,
I've actually decided not to go there because I want to go back to ISS again. And I know you guys will, like Ryan will be there, right?
Yeah.
If you stay on with Gildan.
what?
If you stay on with Gildan.
It's
don't
not
know.
announced yet.
Oh, I don't know.
Cut that out, Jeremy.
I'm oblivious to the Gildan Board of Directors because I'm not allowed on it.
Yeah.
It's like I'm allowed on the Print Girl Mafia, and I'm a little bit tainted about that.
Hey, you know what? You can be on the Butterfly Bros, which is the counterpart to the Print Girl Mafia. Me and one of our screen printers, we even have a secret handshake. So,
did Mark?
It's giving such like Ken land after like Ken takes over Barbie land. It's like,
gosh.
No, not fair. I just really want to talk about horses.
What is it called? Butterfly Bros?
This has got to be from Barbie, right? Is that what it is? Oh my gosh.
Butterfly Bros.
Oh my god.
P&M Ken over here is all jealous that he doesn't get to be on Print Girl Mafia either.
Yeah, I know. Me and you.
Jeremy is super bitter about this.
We had Nikki on the show, and I'm like, you suck.
No, she's fantastic. I love her.
I love her too. But I'm like, you're just Title IX for screen printers. That's all it is.
Oh my gosh. You're going to get sued. Between the two of you, there's so many warnings.
I can't contain
That's all right. Yeah.
I was so worried about Ryan, and it's you too.
I can get worse. It's fine.
Good time.
Me and Ryan are friends. It's fine.
I'm just. Nikki knows better. Like, I'm just joking.
Well, I love that you had a great time out there. I am very pro networking, and I tell people all the time about my time on the Bod Buddies. I've had such a good time connecting with people. And we were even like last night chatting about, I can't even remember we were talking about squeegee thickness and everything on this Bod Buddies chat. And like, we are so dorky. I was riding home and I was like, if anybody else not in the screen printing industry read about our triple durometers and like the thickness, stiffness. Like,
But
why are y'all talking about this?
that's one of the great things about that group and these groups is like you can ask these questions and you're getting an informed answer as opposed to there's some Facebook groups that I think Megan was alluding to in her brilliant rant that you guys kept going on about. That it's like it's these people asking like, well, what squeegee do I use? And it's like, well, for what?
For what? Yeah.
So much involved.
And so to have these educated people to be able to bounce ideas off of, or Christy, I know you and I have had several phone calls where it's like, what would you do in this situation? And just to get an educated, and get an educated second or third opinion, I would encourage a third opinion when you're calling me, but
no, we've had to talk Christy off the ledge several times. She's like, so thank you so much for hanging out with us.
It's been a blast.
We actually have this question. We're all about passion and purpose here. So I'm going to break it up. Ryan, what do you feel like your passion is? And Megan, what do you feel like your purpose is?
Within the building?
Within whatever you want to say. Whatever you want to say. Passion for Ryan, purpose for Megan. Go.
No boundaries.
No boundaries.
I would say passion, and this is kind of reflected in our story, but as well as our values, is like stories in general, I think, is my passion. And so it's like professionally, it's telling somebody else's story through screen printing, promo products, something like that. But then like personally, it's like giving my son the best story, best life that he can possibly have. And I think that's my passion, is stories.
I like that.
I love it.
Megan, what's your purpose?
Well, Ryan, did you ever tell Jeremy what your son's name is?
Oh, Jackson. We have a Jackson.
Yeah. I got a Jackson.
Feel like that had to be dropped in there.
Yeah, we have a Jackson and an Alex running around here. So,
do you have a Steel Magnolias? Did you steal it from Steel Magnolias?
No, he's named after. Michael. I'm going to get yelled at for this.
Jackson Brown, right?
Jackson Brown.
So it's not Michael. No. So I told Jackson, he's like, I got the coolest name in the world. I'm like, it was named after a kid in Steel Magnolias because Joel, the movie. And he's like,
no,
shook.
My Jackson is not old enough to ask why he was named Jackson yet. He just turned 5.
I like the way that you kind of deferred the question, Megan, but I'm going to keep you.
Oh, I didn't defer the question. I just knew that it was like the last one, and so I wanted to make sure you knew.
Yeah, that's awesome.
This is a 2 Jackson podcast.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
No. So purpose, I would say my purpose is to, on one hand, to make sure that I am honoring the legacy of, my parents and my grandparents, and, just like serving that legacy well. But then also kind of in the present and the future, I think a lot of my purpose, especially in my job specifically, is to make sure that, that I like am valuing my staff, that I am making them feel like they want to come to work, and that from that stems, like a sense of people want to come to us because there's something different here. There's something, not necessarily new, but there's something special. And so my purpose is to make sure that it stays special, I guess, to make sure my employees feel special and my clients feel special, and that this keeps being a special thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that's awesome. Dude, she's so much better. No, I'm just kidding.
Dude, I'm aware. Why do you think I wanted her on with me instead of it just being me? Are you kidding me?
Something good for the show. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you, dude. Listen, give all the listeners out there a way to get a hold of you guys and what you guys got going on. Plug
Call Ryan.
Call me, yeah.
All right.
Socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. We are at P_M Apparel. Website PMapparel.com. We'd love to answer any questions, help out where we can. We'll be at Print Hustlers. We'll be at other places that we aren't necessarily allowed to say. We'll be. What else?
And I will say, like these two, they are two of the most approachable people. So if you
Please
see them
approach
at ISS or Print Hustlers, go say hi. You might be scared away. Ryan.
So, hey, we don't do this normally, but I'm going to raise a glass to you guys. I wanted to say, may P&M Apparel pass on that passion and that purpose of you carrying on that legacy and making your story heard and known, both in your families, but also in your business. And I just wish you guys all the best. Thank you so much for being on our show, you guys.
Love you both.
Really appreciate it. Can't wait to see you guys soon.
Awesome. Thank you, guys.
From us from last.
Thank you.
So, cheers, everybody.